I'm Eitan Weinstein.
And I'm Naor Menninger. And you're listening to Two Nice Jewish Boys.
This podcast is made in collaboration with the Jewish Journal. Some of the biggest global companies stem from this region. From Mobileye, Checkpoint, and Mellanox to Wix, Waze, and Lemonade, Israel is not only on a global level, but at the top of tech innovation. But it's not only the big companies, the ones that reach the headlines and sell for billions of dollars, that call this country home. There is an ecosystem of thousands of innovative companies like Flytrex, which does drone delivery and whose CEO, Yariv Bash, we interviewed back in episode 92. Or Zeekit, which is disrupting the fashion industry by allowing you to virtually try on clothes online before buying them. Of course, there's also the dark side of Israeli startup scene, which today we can sum up in two words: WeWork. We'll also get to that. To talk about all this, we're joined today by a really exciting guest. Born in New York City, living now in Gush Etzion, and consulting for some of Israel's fastest growing startups, Hillel Fuld is one of the most influential tech vloggers in Israel, and even in the world. Straight from the Hilzfuld Tech vlog, we are thrilled to be joined today by Hillel Fuld. Thank you so much. How are you?
Thank you. A few corrections.
Okay.
First of all, I live in Beit Shemesh.
Ah, really?
I have family in
So
Gush
your
Etzion.
Wikipedia page is wrong.
Really?
You have a Wikipedia page, by
I
the
do,
way.
but
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, I think
it says
it
I live in
does.
Gush Etzion.
Maybe
My brother
I
lives in
read it
Gush
wrong.
Etzion. All right, we'll get there. I live in
Okay.
Beit Shemesh. That's first of all. Second of all, wow, we're gonna pull the WeWork card right out the gate.
Yeah,
we're
we
jumping
are.
right in.
Ratings.
Jumping right
So
in.
we're gonna get you some. We're gonna get you some scoops today, okay? Because I have like a very unpopular opinion about WeWork.
Okay.
You want to get
Really?
into it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we sure about this?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think the whole thing is one big, like, press lynch, and it is the ugly side of the internet.
Really?
Yeah. Have you ever met Adam Newman?
No.
No.
By far the most impressive CEO I ever met in my life.
So then how do you explain
Like I have a man crush on that guy. Okay.
Because he has a guru.
No. So let's just. Honestly, I'm telling you guys the truth. I didn't know you were going to bring this up, but I've been like sitting on this for a couple of days now. Should I even open that? I wrote on Facebook. I wrote, "Is WeWork a tech company? Is there a god?" Because everyone has an opinion and nobody knows anything. So let's just
Let's just
go
dive.
in.
Let's
dive in.
Okay, so let me hit you with like the what I see as the hard. Like, how do you explain? So the two worst things I heard was one that he basically sold his company, the
Stock.
name
Oh,
the name We
trademark.
Company,
Yeah, trademark.
for like $6 million. In the end, it didn't go through, but he tried to like basically get a payday, and the fact that he sits on both sides of lease agreements.
Okay, so how much time do we have to talk about
Infinite.
this? Okay, so I'll tell you right now, I totally don't agree with any of it. So let's a disclaimer. Okay, disclaimer is he made a lot of stupid decisions. Okay, it's stupid to cash out at $700 million pre-IPO. That's not a good move. I don't know who approved that move. Bad move. Buying the We trademark and selling it to your own company. Bad move. I'll even go a little farther and say shady move. And that's where it ends. Adam Newman, by far, is the most impressive CEO I've ever met in my life. I've met one or two CEOs in my life. By far, the most impressive CEO I've ever met in my life. One. Two, even if you want to say it's not a tech company, which we'll address in a second, okay, so it's the fastest growing real estate company in history by a 7,000% margin. So the guy is scaling like there's no one's business, and he's a scam artist. Like that. That's
On
what people are saying.
paper, it was.
What do you mean? He owns property. He's renting out space. Like he's the biggest real estate, property owner in New York. Fact.
It's not owning it's renting.
But I'm saying as a landlord, a person renting out his office space, first of all, he does own buildings, but that's a topic for another time. Irrelevant of that, though, what he's done in terms of scaling that business, even if it's not a tech company, let's put aside the whole discussion, tech company, real estate company. It's a company growing at unbelievable pace. Like the real estate world has never seen anything like that. That's number one. Number two, and I'm gonna dumb this down for our listeners here and maybe oversimplify a little bit, but bear with me. When I'm building a lemonade stand, I'm 6 years old and I'm building a lemonade stand. I need to now go buy a tablecloth. I need to go buy lemonade. I need to buy water, right? I need to buy a sign. I need to buy markers to write the sign. All of those things are expenses. I now am going out and buying those things, and that means that for my business, the lemonade stand, I'm losing money right now. I'm not making a dime. I'm losing money. When I make money, is much, much, much later. For the first 50 cups of lemonade, I'm just trying to break even. Cup 51, now I'm making a profit. When WeWork took Red Hot Chili Peppers for their offsite for all their employees, the internet went crazy. Oh my God, they're spending all this money. They're losing billions. They're investing in human capital. They're investing in the business. They're not losing money. Amazon didn't make money, profit, till 5 years ago. Uber's bleeding money. Airbnb, none of these guys are making money. When Facebook IPO, they weren't making money. I remember standing literally on Shabbat in synagogue, and a very smart person, and I don't say that, sarcastically, said to me, I will not buy Facebook stock. And I was like, why not? And he goes, because they don't know how to monetize. I said to him, are you like actually smoking something? Do you know how many users they have? Like, you can't not monetize 2 billion users. Zuck will flip the switch on monetization, and he'll monetize. And there's stories of the early days of Facebook where like employees would say to Zuckerberg, like, I know how to monetize this thing. Here's what we need to do. And Zuck stood up at the whiteboard and wrote on the board one word: growth. That's our focus right now. We're focused on expansion, on growth. When we grow fast enough and we're big enough, we'll flip the switch on monetization. But every business loses.
I get that. I get that. Even like I was watching a few interviews. Even Netflix was wasn't profitable pre their IPO. I mean, you don't have to be profitable as a company. If you focus on growth, then you can reinvest your capital, and obviously you're not profitable, and that's fine. But you can't ignore the fact that Adam Neumann.
Yeah.
I can't pronounce. He's got so many
Like
extra
Seinfeld.
letters.
Neumann in English. Neumann in
but
Hebrew.
he's got so many extra letters. You're not sure if it's Neumann.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you can't ignore the fact that he seems a bit megalomaniac. I mean,
And
like,
what was Steve Jobs?
also,
Okay.
I'm not necessarily
Why,
a
he's
fan
dead
of Steve
now.
Jobs.
Yeah, but Steve Jobs. They pulled the same trick on Steve Jobs, right? They outed him from his company. He came back and revived
But
Apple.
Steve Jobs was kind of a cult leader. I mean,
So was Adam
Apple-
Neumann, dude.
Exactly. He
One
said-
is in the grave from not taking treatment for cancer, and the other has ruined his own company.
I think we'll wait and see what happens because I'm not so convinced. Again, they outed Steve Jobs. And
Oh,
he came
Steve
back.
is not going out of the grave.
No,
No,
but
I can tell you.
I think that he's definitely going to be like in the business curriculum, like in schools, they're going to study
Right,
him.
that's for sure. But let me just clear up a
long
couple of
time,
things.
but-
First of all, the comparison between what was her name, Elizabeth Holmes. Is that her name? The woman the Theranos, the scam artist who scammed all of Silicon Valley with the blood testing thing.
Yeah, Elizabeth
The
Holmes.
comparison between Adam Neumann and Elizabeth Holmes is ludicrous. Like, again,
Who compared them?
Oh, there's articles
Yeah.
all over the internet saying he's a scam artist. Like, that is ridiculous. Objectively, undeniably, an incredible visionary who built the most phenomenal company in the real estate world. Objectively, that's just a fact. Like, that's number one. Number two, the world's most sophisticated technology investors poured billions into this company. So they're idiots. So we're also smart and they're idiots. Okay, that's highly unlikely. Fine, put that aside.
Numbers show that, like, you can't argue with numbers. Sorry.
What do you mean numbers? Like that it crashed?
Yeah.
We'll address that in a second. Third thing I'll say is the whole debate of technology. Like, what is Facebook? Facebook is disrupting communication. So it's a communication company? No, it's a technology company that is taking technology and using it to disrupt communication. What's Airbnb? A hospitality company? It's a technology company that's disrupting hospitality. What is Uber? A transportation company? It's ridiculous. WeWork is a technology company. How do I know that? Because you can't scale a business that fast without technology. One and two. Look at their technologists. Look at their team. Ron Gura. You don't get much more deep technology than that. They have thousands of engineers building incredible technology.
What's WeWork's technology?
So first of all, there's the app, just in terms of the network. In terms of what's Uber's technology? It's an app, right? It's a network of drivers. It's a network.
They have algorithms.
You don't think WeWork has algorithms? Trust. I mean, you know Ron Gura. I mean, you guys know Ron Gura?
I know the name.
I mean, Eyal Gura's brother. You know Eyal from Zebra Medical. These
No.
guys are like freaking. Miss B's was just sold this week. That's Eyal's wife. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
They're like a family of brilliant technologists, and Ron's just an amazing. That's just one example. They have thousands of engineers. I mean, their CTO. They're just
so easy to compete with WeWork, though.
Oh, it is so not though. There's a reason that they completely, name another company that became a verb that fast. WeWork became the standard.
The brand is huge.
Right, but it's not just a brand. I mean, again, without getting to deep proprietary technology, because truth be told, I don't know their technology because I'm not involved in the technology side of things. But the fact is, there's the app, and people don't know this. By the way, I just want full disclosure. When I joined WeWork, one of the first in Israel, when they came here, I literally said to one of their investors, who shall remain unnamed, "Why are you invested in this company? This is a real estate company." And this is what I probably had that message years and years ago. He said to me, Join WeWork, become a member, and then talk to me about whether you think it's a.
No, so I'm not the whole comparison to Emily Holmes or Elizabeth Holmes. I'm not saying that he did nothing or that he's a scam artist.
Many are saying that.
So then that might
Silly.
be problematic. But there is something kind of I don't know, like there's something shady, like you said, about it. Very shady. You can be an amazing tech innovator and you can create incredible things and still be kind of
did you read the book about Steve
crappy
Jobs?
dude.
Nope. Read the book about Steve Jobs. Like, Steve Jobs was a demented human being. Sorry, I don't have a better word. He had, what did they say, reality distortion field? Like, he saw things differently than other human beings. Like, he'll be looking at something that's black and he'll be like, that is not black, that's white. Like he was not all there, Steve Jobs. You got to be not all there to build what Steve Jobs built, by the way. I'm not comparing the two, but I'm just saying Adam Neumann is a brilliantly charismatic CEO, an unbelievable leader that created a movement. I don't know what else to call it. He defined a market. People say,
But he failed.
it's too early, dude. This just happened. Give me some time. Hold on. He, by the way, failed. Can we just address that? Can we just address that word for 1 second? He just cashed out at $1.7 billion. I don't know what you're calling failure. 1.7.
That's the shady part.
You know who else owns a lot of...
SoftBank, guys. SoftBank paid him SoftBank. We're not. Who? You guys are like. What do you? These guys are brilliant people. Like Benchmark. These guys are like the world's top investors. I mean, I'm not so quick to say he failed, but that aside, maybe call it fine. WeWork's. The valuation went down, but let's talk about valuations. What is a valuation? And this is not me saying this. Elon Musk said this. Like when people ask, why is Tesla valued at 80 times more, whatever the number is, more than GM when GM is selling 1,000 times more cars? And Elon Musk tweeted, and he's right, the valuations are not based on revenue. Valuations are based on projections and dreams, right? And Adam Neumann had a big dream, and people bought it, and not just people. And another thing, there was full transparency here. What did they invest in? His dreams and his charisma? No, they saw the papers. They saw the numbers. He's making billions of dollars. Yes, he's not making billions of dollars in profit, but when he was in Israel, and he gave this talk, and someone in the crowd said to him, Adam, when are you going to turn a profit? Legitimate question. He said something that, to me, he couldn't have said it better. He said, profit? Tomorrow I'll turn a profit if I want. I'll just put the brakes on expansion, stop growing so fast, stop buying up properties and renting out properties at the pace that I'm doing it, and I'll be profitable tomorrow. But I'm not. I'm focused on expansion, which, again, you can debate. But that's every company in the history. No company has ever become profitable without losing.
Let me ask, why did the valuation drop from 70 bill, right?
40,
50.
I think 47.
47 bill to 5.
No, but
No,
what's it now?
15, 10, 15.
Yeah, so okay,
Maybe
so
7 or
again,
8.
let's put that in perspective. It's still a $10 billion company, so nice failure there. But I mean, listen, I think there's a lot of different factors here. I think, he for sure 100% made a mistake. Not him. Whoever wrote those freaking IPO papers was like smoking crack or something. I don't know what they were thinking. Because again, they didn't even address technology. They addressed like making the world a better place, raising people's consciousness. It's like, what is that? That's crazy. Number one. Number two, he made a lot of mistakes. The $700 million cash out was insane. The We trademark, insane. Like he did things that were just stupid. Plain out stupid, right? I'm not gonna take that away from him. I mean, it was just a lot of bad moves.
He might want you to.
Yeah. But the reality is he built an incredible company. By the way, when people talk about Uber, right? They talk about all the investors that said no to Travis, right? The ex-CEO of Uber. Someone said, I don't remember who said it, but it's spot on. He said the people that didn't invest in Uber, they didn't miss out on an opportunity. They missed out on a market because Uber defined a market, right? And then the rest followed.
Right.
Same thing with WeWork. Like he created, again, a movement, a revolution.
Same thing with Nokia.
Correct.
And Blackberry.
Blackberry. I mean, I like blueberries.
Yeah.
When are we getting blueberries in this country?
Should have. You have them in the freezer.
I was a big Blackberry guy. But anyway, my point, by the way, this is the
You know what I'm saying, though?
Yeah, 100%.
So,
This is
I
the
mean,
most
it's
ADD
cool.
conversation ever. I love it.
That's because I put 2 sugars in your
There you go.
coffee.
I love it. But I will say, though, that I fundamentally, I think, and again, we can talk about this for hours, but I think that what the press did to Adam Neumann, like, again, the fact that people are comparing him to like a scam artist is crazy. And I think the press went completely, it's disproportionate to what he did or didn't do. And whether or not this company will fail or succeed is yet to be seen. He definitely did not fail by any means. $1.7 billion, built a movement. Again, forget the bad press. I'm sure he doesn't care about the bad press. And cherry on top is, did you know that he chazal b'tshuva and now he's a religious Jew? Did you know that?
Yeah.
Wears tefillin
That's
every day.
why you like him.
Yeah.
I'm not, guys, I'm not kidding. All jokes aside, I promise you, when I heard him speak, my jaw was on the floor. I was like, this guy is a different level. He's brilliant. He like
all cult leaders.
You know who else
Say that as a bad
started?
thing.
You
I don't
know
know,
who
maybe
else
a CEO needs to be
started
a
a
cult leader.
movement and owns a lot of real estate around the world?
Who?
Jesus, and also L. Ron Hubbard.
I just want to tell you guys something. Let me tell you something. I studied political science, right? And I'm not joking. I remember one of the first lectures. This is like a real thing. One of the first lectures that I remember the name of the professor, actually. I'm not kidding. He was talking to us about leaders. And he was saying that there are different types of leaders. One type of leader is what he called the charismatic leader. And I think this is like a real political philosophy. I don't know the source, but that a charismatic leader, the characteristics of a charismatic leader are that their charisma and their leadership and their, let's call it, I don't know if you want to call it a cult or following, knows no bounds. So like a charismatic leader would tell you, sorry to be such a downer so early in the morning, go kill 6 million people and I will do it because Heil Hitler, right? A charismatic leader, this is a very bad segue and transition, you'll forgive me. A charismatic leader will die, and you'll have millions of Hasidic Jews going around the world, not millions, sorry, thousands going around the world saying he's still alive. Because, okay, he could be dead in the ground, but the Chabad will still say he's alive or that he's Mashiach, right? Because his charisma knows no bounds, right? And at the end of the day, charisma is a very powerful thing. You bring people, and that was a really bad comparison. I'm not comparing the Lubavitcher Rebbe to Hitler, God forbid.
Right.
God forbid.
One's
That's the
a
scoop.
dictatorship, one's a cult.
Right,
so.
no, but my
I
point
think we
is,
have a title for the episode.
No, do not call it that. But my point is, though, like a charismatic leader is able to, bring people behind them and knows no bounds. People believe in your vision. And
That's
by the way,
scary.
yes and no.
For
Yes
me.
and no. Many smart investors like Mark Andreessen, by the way, from Andreessen Horowitz. I believe the name of the article, if I'm not mistaken, is On a Mission, I think. But Michael Eisenberg has written about this. Like, they're looking for entrepreneurs who are on a mission. They're not like if an entrepreneur comes into Andreessen Horowitz, like the world's top VC, and says, "Here's what I'm building. Here's how I'm going to monetize." Like in the first meeting, that meeting's over. Like we're not looking for a short. If an entrepreneur comes into the office and says, "Here's what I'm building. Here's my mission. Here's how I'm going to change the world," the question of how we're going to make money literally doesn't even come up until like the third, fourth meeting. In my opinion, that's what differentiates, the winners and the losers. Like anybody could turn a profit. I could open a falafel stand downstairs and I'll turn a profit. You want to build a movement, you want to change the world, you got to do crazy things like Adam Newman, Steve Jobs, and the rest of them. I'm not making the comparison, but I think it's wrong. That's what I'm saying. I think it's wrong. I think WeWork is a phenomenal company, a phenomenon. And I think Adam Newman is one of the most brilliant people I've ever met in my life. He made mistakes, but I think what they did to him is completely unjustified.
Amazing. We've always been waiting for a scoop. We've always been pushing our guests to get a scoop out of them. I think we finally got that scoop. So
The correct answer to all of that was for you to say, why don't you just tell us how you really think?
So since this episode's so ADD, we're going to talk quickly about our sponsorship with or our collaboration with The Chosen One. Guys, check them out, thechosenonegame.com. The Chosen One game, it's an awesome question-answer card game that basically you just match them up, and they're hilarious, and it's great for families above
Jewish
18.
families
Jewish
mainly.
families that are all above 18, no kids.
17.
17 it says on the box. So we're going to play a little round real quick.
And you gotta go to the website and put the code.
Yeah, we have a code 2njb.com.
No.
Sorry, 2njb, just 2njb.
Yeah.
The number 2njb.
Or the
and you'll
link
get a
on our
discount.
website.
You can go to our website and use the link.
So
let's try a few rounds.
Here, you have
Basically,
two cards here.
I'll read a question and then you pick just one of your answers.
Okay,
Yeah.
Whichever
White,
one you
blue,
think
I don't
is-
understand.
You pick the blue one.
yeah, you pick a blue, it's the answer, and white is the question. So
My favorite part about being Jewish.
People not giving a beep about your bar mitzvah because it's not a bar mitzvah. I don't understand.
Okay.
I don't understand.
My grandmother won't talk to me after.
Okay, what is going on with this game? This is like R-rated stuff. Erections that last longer than 4 hours. That's super awkward, by the way. Wow.
It's really awkward since your grandmother won't talk to me after. My grandmother won't talk to me after it. Okay, we just can't get over.
Scalping high holiday tickets. This is the most bizarre game
you
ever.
bring us a question.
Okay, here's a question. When Zadie was young, he loved...
Blintz de la cheese.
All right.
Ron
Works.
Jeremy's fluffer. Okay. I mean, it's here.
Hit us
It's
up.
here.
Hit us up.
We told you it's 17
Hillel.
Why
plus.
I'm going to hell. Why I'm going to hell.
Mixing up Mel Brooks and Mel Gibson.
That'll do the job.
Okay, got
Alright,
it, guys. It's hilarious. It's so much fun,
Check 'em
especially on
out.
Shabbat.
Yeah. You got to get this game. thechosenonegame.com. Okay, so we want to hear a bit about like the most amazing startup you've heard about recently that no one else has. Give us another
Quirky,
scoop.
unknown, Israeli.
Wow.
It's gonna be the next disruption.
Okay, so I mean, I'll answer. I'll answer your question, but first I'll give a little bit of background.
Yeah.
So first of all, I don't even know. Do your listeners know anything about me?
Well, they
I
know
mean-
what we said in the intro, which
Okay.
wasn't much, but
All right, it doesn't matter. Point is, I see a lot of startups. That's the important thing.
Why? How come?
Many years ago, I sound so old when I say that. I don't know, like 15 years ago, I'm sitting at my first job, bored out of my freaking mind. I'm a technical writer. So the guys who write the user guides you get with your iPhone that no one ever reads. So I was the guy who wrote them. Good times. And I'm like, this is crazy. I love technology. This is not what I should be doing with my time. And I just opened up the internet and I started writing my thoughts, like my ideas on paper, quote unquote, in WordPress. I didn't call it a blog because that wasn't a thing. Nobody was blogging 15 years ago. Nobody understood what I was doing. I didn't understand what I was doing. To be truthful, people were like, "What is this thing? Like, at least put ads on and make some money." I'm like, "This is like a diary for me." But then startups started to reach out. They read my articles, came across them through Google or whatever. This was pre-social media, and they'd be like, "Listen, we read your article on trends in technology. We'd love to meet you." And I was like, "Why?" I'm like, you're a CEO of a company. I'm some random dude writing my thoughts on, like, why do you want to meet me? Like, we liked your perspective. Let's meet. I was like, all right. So I meet the CEO, and I'm like, what are you building? Like, pitch me on your product. And I realized that there's a major gap, a major problem here, which is that I'm meeting these people who are building incredibly impressive technology, but when it comes to communication or anything to do with taking that technology and turning it into a sustainable business, they had no clue. Like, I could tell you stories you wouldn't even believe. Like, literally couldn't even pitch what they were doing. And then I'd say to them, who are your competitors? And they'd say, we have none. I'm like, you're a fool. Like, of course you have competitors. And then I'd say, what's your go-to-market? Right? You have this technology, you have this product. How are you going to get into the hands of consumers? And I heard the most ridiculous answers you wouldn't even believe. And so I'm like having lunch with this entrepreneur and just helping. And again, I didn't study technology. I studied political science. But I guess maybe it's the American kind of, I don't know. I can't even explain it to you. I mean,
where did you get this perspective? Like, where did you get this understanding of?
What is the difference? And now I'm getting all philosophical on you guys. It's really early in the morning. But the difference from my perspective between sales and marketing, right? Think about it. Sales and marketing both need to sell something at the end of the day. So what's the difference between, I'm not talking about the tactical difference, right? One's short-term, one's long-term. There are other tactical differences. But the fundamental difference, in my opinion, is one word that does not exist in Hebrew.
Difference between?
Sales and marketing. And I'm not talking about like performance marketing, just marketing. What Red Bull does. Jumping out of planes, right? At the end, that sells drinks. Mm-hmm. So the difference, in my opinion, between
storytelling,
right? But again, it has to sell. So what's the difference? How do you define that difference? In my opinion, it's one word that does not exist in Hebrew.
Okay.
Subtlety, being subtle. In Hebrew, it's me'udan is the closest word, but it doesn't really translate perfectly. I guess it's close. Which is, I'm not making the decision for you. If I sell you something, and again, I'm obviously oversimplifying, right? But if I'm selling you something, number one, hey, buy my product, right? You're being sold to. Whereas when I watch, Red Bull jumping out of planes, I don't feel like they're trying to sell me a drink. The word beverage doesn't even appear on Red Bull's website. Like, they're not selling me anything. I'm going to go buy their drink. And when I think of energy drink, Red Bull's the only company that comes to mind. They're the only brand that's relevant. But they didn't shove that down my throat. It's about subtlety, right? So maybe as an American, I've kind of had that innately, as opposed to Israelis, which don't. We're not subtle people in Israel, to say the least. And so for me, it was just kind of obvious and second nature. I'll just give you one example, just so we don't keep it super abstract. I met with a company many years ago who had an app that organizes my pictures. Like on my phone, when I want to find a picture, as you know, it's a whole mess. So they have an app that organizes my pictures. Super, like if I'd say to any normal person, like my kid, pitch me on an app that organizes your pictures. You'd be like, okay, well, your pictures are a mess. We solved that. Super simple, right? Doesn't get much simpler than that. Like a really, really, really good guy. The CEO is amazing, right? I said to him, what do you do? And this is literally what he said to me, like direct quote. He said to me, we've developed an algorithm that analyzes the metadata of your photos and organizes them based on geolocation.
Because these people are usually nerds and geeks.
Right, but I was like, dude, what did you just say? Like, what language are you talking? He goes, I don't understand. He's like, that's what we do. I'm like, that is not what you do. That's what you built. What do you do? And he couldn't tell me. I was like, listen, Waze replaced maps, Instagram replaced the camera, you replaced the gallery. He's like, oh my God. How did I think of that? And that's like, I mean, to me, it was, again, I never studied it.
So, like, you're like Don Draper for startups.
I'll take it, but okay. Anyway, point is, over the years, I just tried to help. And here's the crazy part. The crazy part is that this wasn't a business for me, ever. Like, I never came to a company that said, pay me. But I'm wearing, you guys, well, I guess you could see, I'm wearing a Flipboard t-shirt, right? Mm-hmm. I'm gonna take my phone right now and read you an email. So, I don't know if you guys know Flipboard.
Yeah, what is Flipboard?
So Flipboard's an app, iPhone, Android also, but they came out on the iPad first. It's basically to consume like news instead of going to Safari, whatever. You flip through whatever. It's a beautiful app. It's objectively like a beautiful experience. And when they came out on the iPad, I was like, okay, this is the reason the iPad was created. This is like a beautiful user experience. And so I started to use it, and I loved it. So I started to promote it. I started to write about it. I connected with the CEO, Mike McHugh, on Twitter. Started to send him Israeli startups that could be relevant. Flew out to Silicon Valley, sat with the team, told them how to optimize the product as like a power user. I was like, this is what you need to do. I just did my thing. Like, I was very engaged with them. And I'm telling you guys something. The thought of asking Flipboard for something did not even cross my mind. Like, who the heck am I? It's like multi-billion-dollar company in Silicon Valley, and I'm some dude in Beit Shemesh. Like, what? I didn't ask them for anything. It didn't even cross my mind.
But you spent all this time.
Yeah, because I love the product and I wanted to help them. That was it. I'm
Okay.
telling you. So I'm sitting at home one day and I get the following email from the CEO of Flipboard. Hillel, I won't ever forget your enduring support for what we've been building over the years. And I'm like, okay, that's really nice of him to thank me. And then he goes, it's time we got you some stock and asked you to be a formal advisor. I know you wouldn't ask for this, but it's the right thing to do. I hope you'll accept. We are only just beginning and I could really use your advice when you have the time. So I joined him as an advisor. That email is just one example of 40 emails that have come in over the years of companies that I helped. just like, I don't know, they need press. So I write for TechCrunch. I connected them to TechCrunch and they got press. They need an investor. Okay, Michael's a childhood friend of mine, Michael Eisenberg. So I sent him a deck and he invested. Or Gigi Levy.
You focused on growth.
I'll take it, but no, I didn't. To be honest, I'm telling you the truth. Like I didn't know what was going to happen. This wasn't like a strategy of mine. I had a job, and I just figured if I could help people, great. And what I learned over the years, now again, sorry to get so philosophical, but what I've learned over the years, and this is really actually a valuable lesson, that I think I'm saying this with humility. Whoever is listening, no matter how successful they are and what they've done in life, I believe this is a lesson anyone can learn from. Is that business is not a zero-sum game. What do I mean? Generally, traditionally, people think, I'm paying you money. I need to take money out of my pocket and pay you. So I'm losing, you're gaining. One of us has to lose for the other to gain. Pardon my French, but bullshit. I don't buy that at all. And my career is proof, because all I did was give over the years. I'd never asked anyone for anything. But now what I've done, totally accidentally, is built myself a venture capital firm without capital. Right? I have like 35 companies that have come to me and said, listen, let's work together. We already experienced your abilities because you delivered. You didn't promise us anything. You definitely didn't sell us anything. You're not a vendor. You're not an agency. I don't have a team. It's just me. But, you did our press. You did, you introduced us to an investor who wrote a $15 million check. You didn't take a finder's fee. Right?
But you knew what your work is worth, and yet...
Yeah, but it wasn't a business for me. It was never a business for me until it became one.
So basically, the business model, just to get practical, is that you consult for these companies and they give you shares in the company.
So now, not only shares. So now let's call it 35 companies that I'm a strategic advisor at, and let's say 25, 27 of them gave me equity, and it's like a passive advisory. I'm sure you know many of the companies I'm advising, and then another 7, 8 of them, depends on the month, I'm a very active advisor at, which means sometimes they don't have a PR agency. I'm their PR agency. Sometimes they don't even have a CMO. Like I do all their marketing. And they give me a retainer.
I see. So can you tell us some of the companies that you've been consulting for?
So Flipboard, obviously.
Yeah.
So Powtoon right now, Home Talk. Right now, I'm working with a U.S. college on their 2 challenges, which is 1, relationships with Silicon Valley because they're in San Francisco and they don't have that many relationships, and 2, branding. C-Tree, an incredible company that uses drones to give farmers better visibility into their trees. Cool story, like, I don't know, maybe 6, 7 months ago, I came across a Facebook ad for a shoe company in Lisbon, Portugal, custom shoes. And I was like, that's cool. I don't even remember how the original relationship kicked off. But bottom line is I got in touch with them. CEO is a guy named Rafik, super, super duper nice guy. Bottom line is they sent me a pair of shoes. I promoted them, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, Twitter exploded. And now I flew out to Lisbon with a couple of quote unquote influencer friends, another topic we can talk about, which I despise that word, but we flew out to Lisbon. We spent some time with the team. Love the company culture, love the product. I'm wearing their shoes. No, I'm not wearing their shoes right now. And yeah, as I'm getting ready to go to the airport back to Israel, the CEO sits me down and goes, dude, let's just do something together. So I joined them as an advisor. I'm working with them. There's a whole bunch of companies. I mean, the more passive advisories, I'm trying to think like Test Fairy, Prove, Intelligo, YouMove, Zuta Labs. I don't know.
Can you tell us about one Israeli?
Powtoon. What's Powtoon?
You serious?
I've heard of it.
it.
Powtoon is like
gracious.
promo something. What are they?
Yeah, so they just passed this week's. This is a scoop. They haven't done the press yet. 70 million videos created on their platform. They're sitting in Tel Aviv, bootstrapped. They haven't raised any capital. Massive scale. And so it's a platform to create videos. Super simple.
Basically, you pay.
They have a pay model, but you can use it for free too. It's like a freemium thing.
But they haven't. You said they haven't gotten any investment.
They didn't raise cap. They raised minimal, like family and friends money.
So they're making all their money by people basically buying the premium.
Yeah. Massive scale. Unbelievable company.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it just allows you to create videos like on the fly.
Yep.
For anybody, like not.
Yeah. So you don't need technical. You don't need editing abilities. Yeah. It's super simple and it's amazing. Crazy scale. CEO's like amazing.
What's going to be the next Israeli
So that brings us back to the question. See that this is called ADD. Thank you for pulling me back in. I'm all over the place. You know how many ADDs it takes to change a light bulb?
How many?
Want to go boating? Okay, so to me, as someone who sees, let's call it a wider perspective on this thing called Israeli tech, which we should talk about as well, because that's another thing that I think that I have a strong opinion about. Shocker. I think that there's, to me, by the way, it's not only Israeli tech, in general tech. What is the most interesting trend to me is let's call it, I want to say, not the transition is not the right word, but the way humans and computers interact, right? It's changing, right? If you think about it, how is it, just think about this. We don't think about this, but how is it that in 2019, we have autonomous drones, we have self-driving cars, we have cancer, unbelievable breakthroughs, and we're using a mouse to click on a trackpad to interact with computers? What? Think about that. We're walking in the street, swiping on a screen. Like, yeah, it's better than what we had before, but there's got to be a better way, right? So you look at companies that are changing that, the way we interact with our devices, whether it's Sesame Enable. You guys know those guys?
No.
Sesame Enable, head and eye tracking. YouMove is a company that I mentioned. I'm an advisor there. Also, eye tracking.
Google is trying now with radar on their new phone.
Yeah. It's eye tracking and head tracking. I know that in the new Pixel.
Yeah, the new Pixel.
The new Pixel has you can do gestures.
Yeah,
in
but
the
it's
air.
very.
It's weird. Yeah, it's weird. But in general, the way we interact with computers, I think that the epitome, the climax of that, or the unbelievable company that blew my mind. They're not Israeli, but I guess there's an Israeli connection. Is Magic Leap, right? Magic Leap is a company that raised more money than any company in history before they even had a product. We're talking $2.5 billion raised.
What did they do?
So, first of all, the CEO lives in Florida. He's a religious guy with a black kippah. Seriously, they raised. You name it. Google invested. Alibaba invested. $2.5 billion with a B invested in the company. I'm not what they're worth. That's how much money investors put in. So they opened an R&D center in Israel, and a good friend of mine kind of leads the ecosystem activity. And I went there to try it out because it was is this the most hyped company in history? Is this BS? Is this actually as good as people say? And I went to
it's the glasses, right?
It's like goggles. Yeah, I tried them on and I did this demo, and oh my god. Literally, oh my
What
god.
is it, virtual reality?
It's not virtual reality. They call it mixed
Augmented?
reality. They call it mixed reality. So there's virtual reality. I put a headset on and I don't see the world. I just see my own reality. And then there's augmented reality, which is I see the world and I augmented another reality on it. This is called mixed reality, where, put it this way, when I took off the goggles, I couldn't differentiate between what was real and what wasn't real. So he gave me a demo, and I'm not actually, unfortunately, not even allowed to give too many details, but it blew my mind. It bends your mind. You're interacting, you're engaging with virtual things like they're real. To every sense, you feel it.
They want you
touch
to wear it on the street because that was the whole problem.
No one's gonna wear these goggles on the street. I'll show you what it looks like.
Yeah.
No one's gonna wear the goggles on the street. But here, this is Magic Leap. You guys can't see, but that's the goggles.
They look like the glasses you wear when you're doing an eye check.
Right. No one's gonna wear that on the street. But the point is, what it does is, it mixes real reality and virtual reality. You cannot tell the difference. Again, I can't get into too many details because I'm not.
But for gaming purposes,
so that's the big question. That's the big question. There's many applications for it. Medical, right? There's gaming. There's content in general.
Porn.
I wasn't going to say it, but there's a lot of different applications. The question is what they're going to do with it. What's going to be their go-to-market? That's the big question, and that's why many people say it's overhyped because they're not making money yet. It's very early, but the technology as a technology is mind-blowing. Now, that's my introduction. The answer to your question, which was what's an Israeli company that you never heard of that is unbelievable, is a company that I saw. I have no affiliation with them. Is called Odyssey. A guy named Yaakov Koni, who works at NDS Cisco, introduced me to them, and I walk into their little kind of stereotypical cliche startup office, a little coffee machine, a little corner in Tel Aviv somewhere, and I see a room smaller than this room, tiny little room. And I go into this room, and now remember, I'm saying that there's a reason I'm focusing on that. This is a tiny little room, and I know that in my brain. I know I'm standing in a room, in a tiny little room. And they put this virtual reality headset on it, and along with a whole bunch of other things, kit, whatever it may be. And I am now brought into a world. I think they call it hyper reality. I don't know what the name is, the official name. But bottom line is, I was just transported into another reality where, for example, in one of the scenes, I'm standing on a shaky bridge. And I'm telling you guys, I physically could not move. I was terrified, shaking, trembling, petrified, crying, scared. I could not tell this. And I knew in my head I'm standing in a room. I knew I'm standing in a room. I walk by a torch and I feel the heat because they have a heater in the room. They make it all the senses at once.
Fully immersive.
It is. That's a good word. Fully immersive. I took it off and I was like, there is no way that I was standing in this room just now. They're like, you didn't move. I was like, shut. There's no way. It's completely crazy. Everything you think about, the way you interact with, digital virtual content, forget it. This is just a different level. They're super early. They haven't even raised capital yet. They're talking to some big brands in the retail space, but crazy company. Mind-boggling.
Odyssey?
Yeah, Odyssey. It's ODDYSY.
All right, guys, pull out your wallets.
So
are they going public? Are they public?
No,
or
they're
are they private?
They're super early startup.
So is Israel special? I have friends from the tech industry. They say all this startup nation, it's so overhyped. In reality, in Chinese and Indian developers in Silicon Valley there are so many more. There are talented developers everywhere. There are great people all over the world, and it's just a branding thing. The startup nation. It's a fraudulent.
Okay. All right.
What do you say to that?
I say the opposite. I say it's actually causing us damage. I say that's not at all what Israel is anymore. It was Startup Nation, traditionally speaking, and Mark Andreessen told me this personally when I interviewed him. Mark Andreessen, for those that don't know, invented the modern web browser. He's the founder of Netscape. Now he's a multi-billionaire investing in Andreessen Horowitz, invested in Facebook and Twitter and Slack. I mean, he's, I think, objectively the top VC in the world. So I had the chance to interview him, and he said Israeli companies sell too early. And we were Startup Nation because we built startups and we flipped them to Google and Facebook, and that was good for its time, but that's no longer the case at all. And is it overhyped? I think it's the opposite. I think that Startup Nation is not at all. We're now a whole different. We've graduated from Startup Nation, and I don't think this is a theory. I mean, look at the numbers. And no matter how you want to analyze the ecosystem in Israel, let's talk about capital raised. How much capital? This is a real thing. Okay, we're talking about a country smaller than New Jersey in the worst neighborhood on earth, right? The most unstable region on planet Earth. How much money? And unless you know the statistics, don't say it if you know it, but just guess if you don't know it. How much money was raised in by Israeli startups in this month in October? Just throw out a number.
20 billion.
Come on, stop it. What are you saying? 20 billion? You crazy? What? You just ruined my surprise, man. Damn. No, but be realistic. Think how much money you think New Jersey raised this month?
Startups in New Jersey?
20 million.
In New Jersey, probably
50 million.
I would say 50 million. That's probably right. You know how much
Okay.
money was raised in Israel this month? 1 month, $1.2 billion, and the month's not over yet.
That was close.
Dude, that doesn't make any sense.
20 so close to 20 billion a year. 20
Yeah,
billion
yeah.
a year.
I mean, it's crazy. Think about that. Israel has every excuse in the book. We're tiny. We're insignificant on the map. We're in the worst.
And
we're-
what about in Shenzhen, for comparison?
there's
I
no-
don't
Dude,
know.
in all of Africa, that much money was raised in a month. All of the entire Africa. We're talking about a country, a speck on the map, okay? That's just capital. Forget capital. Where's the capital coming from? Name a top-tier VC in the world that's not investing in Israel. No such thing. Benchmark, Excel, Lightspeed, Sequoia, the list goes on and on. There's no such thing. Even Andreessen Horowitz, by the way, who has one office in Silicon Valley, and they do not have a second office, like by design. They have a guy on the ground here. They're deploying capital in Israel. They're investing in Israeli startups. You name it. Ashton Kutcher, Sound Ventures in LA. They have a guy on the ground here. They invested in Move It. They invested in several companies here. There's no such thing as a top-tier VC, but forget Silicon Valley. Alibaba, Baidu, these Asian massive companies are pouring money into Israel. Alibaba has one strategic partnership in the world with a venture capital firm. One, Jerusalem Venture Partners. Think about that. So that's from the capital perspective. Look at the multinationals. Name a single multinational in the world that doesn't have presence in Israel. Forget presence in Israel. Apple, right? You guys aren't Apple guys. I'm using an iPhone 11 Pro Max. The face, it's the worst name ever.
Pro
right?
Max
Yeah,
Ultimate,
worst
the
name
last
ever.
device you'll ever
Steve
need.
Jobs is turning over in his grave. But anyway, the Face ID. I unlock my phone 3,000 times a day. That's an Israeli company, PrimeSense. They developed it. Apple bought them, right? You look at Microsoft. They're building massive parts of their cloud infrastructure here in Israel. Amazon. We know Amazon. AWS is massive here. Google. When you're using Android, what do you think Android's built? 70% of Android's built here. When you Google something and it says, "Did you mean this?" That's built here. These guys are, every single multinational, not only are they here, but they're building core elements of their experience here in Tel Aviv, this tiny little nothing city. So that's from the multinationals perspective. Then you look at the unicorns. How many multi-billion-dollar companies are in this freaking like microscopic country? You'd expect there to be 1, 2, 5. We're talking like 50. Forget Waze and like Mobileye. Look at the companies like, Iron Source. In the world, there's the top the company that's making most money from advertising, Google. After Google, Facebook. After Google and Facebook, Iron Source. True story. Like, it's crazy. I mean, there's so many unicorns. Flytrex. You open the App Store anywhere in the world, look at the top paid apps in the world. Facetune is like the top 5 in the world. Sitting in Hebrew University in Jerusalem building that, right? The list of unicorns, of multi-billion-dollar companies in this country is outrageous.
So why do you say it's harmful?
Because we're not Startup Nation anymore. We're not building startups. We're building large, sustainable, successful, scalable businesses. We're looking, how many IPOs are coming now. JFrog is coming. Look at Taboola and Outbrain. It's a $5 billion company. They dominate the internet. Now they just merged, so it's even more dominance, right? And the list, I can go on. Look at, what's the glasses that was the founder of Mobileye, Orcam. Right? Mm-hmm. These guys are helping blind people see. Multi-billion-dollar company. And then you look at companies that are growing and getting there, like AppsFlyer and SimilarWeb, and the list goes on for hours. It doesn't make any sense, right? So Startup Nation's cute 5 years ago. Now we're building many, many, many multi-billion-dollar
So how do you explain
companies.
the success story?
Yeah, I'm sure you have some kind of take on why.
Smarter people than myself have written books about it, obviously. But, there's no one answer. I definitely think, there's the military, for sure. There's the fact that the government is very, whether it's the chief scientist and things like that, the innovation, what are they called? The Innovation Center? No.
Yeah, Hamadan Arashi.
Yeah, what's it called? The
in
Innovation Authority.
English?
Innovation Authority.
Okay.
Like that they're pouring money into companies. Those are nice. But I think if you ask me, I think it comes down to culture. At the end of the day, like
In each one of us, there's an Adam Newman hiding.
There you go. I'll tell you
Right?
what I think. This is funny. I say this as a joke, not really though, right? So you're American, right? You spend time in America at all?
A bit.
Where?
New York, Washington,
Okay, so
Pittsburgh,
let's put aside New York for 1 second because New York is like a little bit of a I don't know what to call it, a phenomenon.
Philadelphia.
Or like right. So in Philadelphia,
Been in LA.
when you're driving on the highway, right, and you want to switch lanes,
Okay,
in most
I never-
places in the world,
yeah.
whatever, it doesn't matter. When you're driving on the highway and you want to switch lanes, you put your blinker on, and the person in the next lane slows down, lets you into their lane.
Right.
What do we do in Israel?
Speed up.
We speed up. It's not a joke. Like we
And then that causes you not
literally
to put your blinker on.
I kid you not. 5 minutes from here, on the way here, I put on my blinker and I rolled down. I'm like, why did you just do that? You saw me. I wanted to come to your lane. Why would you speed up? And of course, I get, but like it's a real thing, right?
And then Hillel got stopped, and he's here.
He's no
from the
longer with us.
hospital. Yeah.
No, but like seriously, what is that, right? So, when it comes to driving, it's not very fun. But when it comes to business, what do I always say? In America, like you ask most people, I would imagine, most normal people, what's the most important thing for you? Like, what do you want it to say on your tombstone? Most normal people would say, I want to be a good person. In Israel, we don't want to be a friar. It's the worst thing to be a friar, right?
Yeah.
You're a sucker in English. Like, it's a real thing. Now, again, when it comes to driving, that's a bad thing. When it comes to business, we're not letting anyone into our lane. You tell me I can't do something, I'm going to do it. I mean, I addressed some of the components of the ecosystem, but let's just talk about innovation for 1 second, which drives all this stuff, creativity, out-of-the-box thinking. Israeli entrepreneurs, like, and again, I don't mean to sound cliche, but like, there's no such thing as impossible. Like, think about your modern office, right? The office, behind you have a desk. You have a computer, you have a monitor, and you have this device that sits by the monitor that's always sat there that we have to use, and it's this old, archaic, like, annoying device to use. It's called a printer, right? No one likes to print. Printing sucks. It hasn't evolved. It's just not a good experience. Like, you press print and you hear zoom, zoom, zoom. What is that? Why have we not evolved? The answer is very simple. A printer needs to be the size of a piece of paper. It can't be smaller. There's not much to do there. Comes along a Jerusalem-based entrepreneur, Tuvia Elbaum, and he's like, wait a second. Why do you have to put the piece of paper into the printer in the first place? I'm going to build a mobile robotic printer that walks on the paper and prints. Like, who even thinks that way? Israeli entrepreneurs think that way. That's it. It's psychotic behavior. Like,
That's amazing.
So that's just one example. But you look, I've been writing this weekly column.
It's actually just like a small Indian person that he pays.
Native
And
American.
it's scalable because they don't cost a lot. So
It's look at the medical. I'll tell you the punchline of what I was about to say in terms of the ecosystem. But I started writing a weekly column in the Jerusalem Post about impact technology. And I'm telling you guys, I didn't know before I started writing about this how many impactful companies there were in Israel. I figured like there's probably, I don't know.
How do you define impactful?
It's very simple. Anybody that's making the world a better place. That's it. Making the world
It's
a better
subjective.
place. Right. So
Okay, that's your column.
my
Yeah.
column. It's subjective. 100% subjective. But I think if you look at the companies that I've covered, it's subjective that they're making the world a better place. But point is, I didn't know how many there were.
Okay.
You can't even imagine. Like, you literally cannot even look at companies like Healthy IO or Zebra Medical or all the cancer research. Or like last week I wrote about a company that takes.
The insurance companies that
That's debatable. We can talk about that in a second, but hold on, we'll get back to
Okay.
that. But no, but like last week I wrote about a company that takes trash, and when I say trash, I mean like dirty diapers and chicken wings, and turns it into a plastic replacement. Like, it's literally saving the world. No exaggeration, right? Now, insurance companies, you mean like Lemonade and Next? What do you
Yeah.
mean?
yeah.
Why are they making the world a better place?
they're making insurance more friendly.
Okay, that's great. I'm not belittling that. I love.
Well, it's
love-
subjective. I
Yeah,
think
but that's not making the world a better place. That doesn't fall, in my humble opinion, that doesn't fall into
Okay.
the category of impact. By the way, I love Lemonade. I'm the biggest Lemonade fanboy. I'm close with the team, Daniel and Shai, and yeah, they're amazing people.
But they're insuring people.
Okay,
for
that's great.
An accessible, affordable way.
No, that's great.
doesn't
I'm not belittling that, but
Yeah.
I don't think that's, in my humble opinion, it doesn't fall under impact. I don't think they would call themselves impact technology either. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But my point is, there's so many. I mean, I had the chance to sit with a guy.
So how do you? That's actually interesting. How do you define impact? Like, how do you define making the world a better place?
But I never actually sat and made a definition.
a gut. It's
The
in the
companies that I've covered, you look at the J Post, you'll see there's no debating it. Like, there's no debating it. Cancer research, cancer treatments. I'm
It's like
all
saving
medical,
lives.
unbelievable stuff. Yeah, it's not all medical, but yeah, I had a chance to sit with a guy named Dr. Rick Klausner, who was the director of the National Cancer Institute of America. He was the guy that every president of the United States came to and said, "Here's a blank check. go cure cancer. He managed more cancer research money than anyone in the world. He left the Cancer Institute and he joined an Israeli company as a chairman. And I had a chance to sit with him, and it's on YouTube. You can watch this. That's why I feel comfortable saying it. Otherwise, I wouldn't feel comfortable saying it.
What's his name again?
Rick Klausner. Dr. Rick Klausner. I asked him a question that I'm sure many of your listeners have asked themselves, which is, with all this technology, how have we not cracked cancer? How is cancer still a thing? How are people dropping dead like flies from cancer? And he said, we actually have cracked cancer. He said many types of cancer we've actually cured in the labs. Some of them are not FDA approved yet. Some of them are not commercial yet. But many types of cancer, like leukemia, and again, the only reason I feel comfortable saying this is because you can watch him say it. Many types of cancer, like leukemia, are cured, like medically cured. And then he started to tell me where all these treatments and cures were developed, and they're all in Israel. Every single one of them. It's wild. It's just an example. But, at the end of the day, we say a light unto the nations. I don't know what that means. From my perspective, all the multinationals and the billion-dollar companies and the capital flowing stuff is great. I'm not belittling that. But the fact that we're genuinely, legitimately making the world a better place, there's no debating that. Like, Israeli technology is making the world a better place. To me, that's the biggest source of pride and the biggest sign that this ecosystem is actually maturing and becoming something far beyond startup nation. So,
in the bit time that we have left.
Time flies when you're having fun, man. Holy smokes.
Thanks. Let's change the subject a little bit. It's 1 year anniversary now since your brother's murder. Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about him?
So I'm one of 5 brothers. We grew up in New York in Queens. Ari picked up before we moved to Israel, moved here by himself. And he slowly became this mega online Israel advocate. And a year and a week ago, he was walking on a Sunday, shopping, and a 16-year-old Palestinian kid stabbed him in a main artery and murdered him. It's been a rough year.
Wasn't he able to disable the terrorist before?
Yeah. So he had a knife in his main artery, and he had no blood in his veins. At that point, he was basically dead. But in his last breath, or whatever, he didn't even have any breath. The doctors can't really explain this. He ran after the guy. He 60 meters, jumped over a fence and shot him. Didn't kill him, but the guy was chasing his next victim with a massive knife. So he saved lives in his last breath, which is unbelievable.
It's amazing.
Yeah, he literally died a hero, and he became a national hero, officially, the state of Israel. But listen, at the end of the day, it's actually not. I know it sounded like a super sharp transition from tech to that, but there's actually a very clear segue, so I'm saving you. You're welcome.
Thanks.
There is a very strong connection because I think, over the years, I would wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'd see Ari debating some anti-Semite or some Israel hater, and I'd be like, Ari, what are you doing? Go to sleep. What's wrong with you? You're not going to convince him. And he didn't want to hear it. He was what are you talking about? What I understood after his murder was that he wasn't actually trying to debate that person or convince that person. It was the thousands and tens of thousands, probably more, of people that were watching that dialogue from the side that were 100% convinced because of Ari's, let's call it, conviction and integrity and truth, right? And so after his murder, I cannot even tell you, thousands and thousands of stories are pouring into my inbox of just unbelievable stories of this guy lived till he was 46 years old. He influenced and impacted millions of lives without an exaggeration. People writing me, I'm Jewish because of Ari. I'm in Israel because of Ari. And I'm like, did you ever meet him? No. Did you ever talk to him? No. But he impacted my life. I had a meeting with a friend of mine at a big tech company, and shall remain unnamed right now. And before the meeting started, she said to me, I have to tell you something. I said, what? She said, the day Ari was murdered, I couldn't come into work. I was like, what do you mean? She goes, I could not stop crying. I was like, did you know him? No. Did you ever talk to him? No. I was like, what? Because he impacted my life. Thousands of people have told me that. So I think, we talked about, Red Bull. At the end of the day, one person today on the platform that is called the internet, social media, call it whatever you want, you, a single individual, can impact millions of lives. So I learned that from Ari. We both use the internet. He used it in advocacy. I used it in tech. But it's crazy to see what he did in 45 years. Crazy. To cough. Edit that out. Sorry.
Yeah.
Heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we pull it back to something good, please?
Important.
No, I think it is. It is.
It's a crazy story, really. My family, his wife is a superhero. She's.
He had wife and four children.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's been a crazy year.
Yeah.
How are they doing?
Surviving.
Yeah.
We'll be all right.
Okay.
Okay, Yizchol Baruch.
Thanks. That's how we're ending the thing? Really?
Sorry?
That's how we're ending?
No, we'll do something.
Can we talk some more
positive.
tech, please?
Yeah, sure.
you.
Yeah,
Jeez,
yeah,
people.
Yeah.
Tell us about so tell us before we go about like some quirky, not necessarily big, but like some interesting startup that you encountered or heard
Like
of,
out of this
or
world,
someone that
something.
you think is promising.
Listen, I think, one of the biggest challenges in today's ecosystem in general in the world is, let's call it innovation. What do I mean by that? I mean, you look at like the Bank of America or Intel or IBM. Those are bad examples. The Bank of America is a good example. Banks in general, their struggle is to remain relevant. Like they're like, we're old school. Some are less. TD Bank is less old school, but like a lot of banks are old school. Not only banks, enterprises in general. Enterprises are still behaving like it's 1980. They don't move fast. They're not, like startups. They all want to remain relevant. They all want more innovation, but they don't really know how to like tackle that. They're like, okay, great. So I'm a bank. What am I going to do? Like some AI startup that I don't even like give them access to my data. Like I can't do that. Like, you hear of these companies that like their servers go down. You know what Walmart would lose if their servers went down for 12 seconds? Billions. Maybe not billions, but hundreds of millions of dollars, right? So these guys want to do more innovation, but they don't even know how to they don't even know how to start that process. On the other hand, you have thousands, millions of startups around the world who are dying to work with the Bank of America. So both sides here want it. They both want to work together. They both want to create more innovation, but neither side know how to even get started with that. So one company that I was working with for a really long time and I love is a company called Prove, Proov. And they're deep technologists. The CTO, Alexei, is like crazy, like super smart dude. And Toby, the CEO, also like incredible amount of experience. And they're like, this is a problem we want to crack. So they built a platform that basically enables any enterprise to run a POC, a proof of concept. So if I'm the Bank of America, I'll come to Prove and I'll be like, okay, I want to run a POC in AI. So I go shopping, quote unquote, in the marketplace. I find that company looks interesting to me. Then Prove says, okay, you want to use that company? No problem. Don't put it on your testing environment and have risk to your data, and we'll mirror your testing environment on our cloud, run the entire POC with the same parameters. It looks the same as your environment, but it's really on our cloud. It works. You hit deploy, and you just ran a POC in a month instead of a year with zero risk to the enterprise. They're working with like thousands of enterprises. I don't even know how many startups by now. They raised from like Mangrove and Our Crowd, and really, really, really amazing company. I think that enterprises are really starting to understand the need for innovation. They're just becoming irrelevant. Otherwise, you can't not innovate. So that's a really cool company that comes to mind.
It's amazing how niche these like solutions are becoming, like connecting between startups and.
Yeah, but it's not really. I mean, yes and no. I hear what you're saying, but think about it. It's every enterprise in the world needs.
Yeah, but it's not like I don't know, creating a ride-sharing solution or something.
It's not consumer.
Yeah,
it's not consumer. But yeah, I mean, just in general, I think like there's. I can give 3,000 other examples. There's so many companies out there that are solving real freaking problems. I'll just give you one more example. Intellego, also a company I worked with for a really long time. Amazing CEO. You look at background checks, right? Everyone needs background checks. You're investing in a company, you need to do background checks. You're hiring an Uber driver, you need to hire a driver, you need to do a background check.
Podcast guests.
There you go. You need to bring people into your country, you need to do a background check. The way background checks are done today, you wouldn't even believe. Like I'm doing you give me a name to do a background check, I'll take 3 months, I'll send you back a 300-page, PDF. And you know what? If that guy was accused of sexual harassment, it's on page 299. You will probably not even see it. And even if you do see it, let's say I send you back a background check. You look at it, you're like, okay, this guy's clean. Great. Now I hire him. Tomorrow the guy goes and rapes someone. You'll never know. It's not in the background check because the background check happened yesterday. Ridiculously primitive. So Intellego basically uses, sorry for the buzzwords, AI, ML, all the buzzwords you can imagine, to do ongoing background checks in like a matter of hours, days. All web-based, beautiful interface, like surfs the web, looks for press, looks for, bankruptcies, lawsuits, anything, accusations, anything. And it's ongoing.
It's terrifying.
No, not in a bad way. It's very
especially
needed.
for you.
What happened to the good days where you could hide your crimes?
I went with the CEO to Washington, D.C. We met some top government officials. They were like foaming at the mouth. They're like, they have a 750,000 person backlog of letting people into America because they're doing background checks like in 1981.
Oh, I thought you meant they were terrified because you're talking to government officials.
No,
They're
they
like,
loved
"Oh no!"
No, they loved it.
like
They're
our
we need
worst
this
nightmare.
thing.
Don't worry, they'll never do it on themselves.
No, they loved it. And listen, Seatree, I mentioned Seatree. I'm an advisor there, but like they're using drones to give farmers. Think about the farmers. Like
Agritech is insane.
Yeah,
here,
agritech is huge. Like you can't like these farmers. I mean, it's just they're like if my tree gets infected with something, and like it now infects all my other trees and my crop goes down, I'm dead. That's it. I have nothing. It's my life. Mm-hmm. You know how they're checking for like these diseases with a ladder and a flashlight. Literally, these farmers are getting up on a ladder with their flashlight and checking their trees. We have incredible photographic abilities. We have drones. We have AI. Why? So these guys, Uri Levine, founder of Waze, invested in these guys, and incredible, massive growth. And just coming to farmers and saying, we're going to give you much better visibility into your trees and their health. Unbelievable stuff. It's just one example. I can go on for hours.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hillel.
How
Really.
can people find you on the web?
The internet is my business card. Just Google my name. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
Seriously.
You're everywhere, though.
Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. I don't know.
You got a
Instagram.
website?
Instagram.
Yeah, HillelFuld.com.
Yeah.
That's the best place.
Okay,
Should
we'll
probably
put
start.
links.
Search
Before we
Google,
go.
you'll find him. It's easy.
Yeah. Google me.
Before we go,
So before we go, we have a collaboration with the Jewish Journal. Heard of them?
Yeah, of course.
All right. JewishJournal.com. Guys, check them out. They got great columns, great podcasts. Shmuel Rosner, David Suissa.
yeah.
Check them out.
Also, it's Sheva at IsraelNationalNews.com, another great news outsource in English.
Shout out to Yoni Kapinski.
Shout out.
And we do this on our free time, guys. So if you want to help us out, go to 2njb.com/donate and help us out.
Do it.
Anything else we need to plug?
I think I'm all plugged out.
I think,
Okay.
yeah, we plugged about like 70 different startups this episode.
Okay.
Good stuff. How do you guys even find me, by the way? Because you like reached out through my website.
Yeah, we've been on and off for a year almost,
Have we?
I think. Yeah.
Really?
Well,
Just from the web.
yeah,
Cool.
you're known.
Beautiful.
Nora's like a guru of
What do you-
getting in touch with
what do you-
people.
Cool. Do we have have a hard stop right now? What
No.
do you guys do? This is what you do for you don't do this for a living.
No.
No,
guys do?
he's in a startup.
Oh,
I work for, you probably heard of them, Intuition Robotics.
Shut up! Get
Yeah,
out of here! I
I know.
love that. I wrote about you guys. I wrote about you in my column.
Really?
What do you do there?
I'm working as conversational designer, head conversational
Oh my
designer.
God,
We
I
both
know what that
studied film.
Intuition is like the old people robot, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I love
LEQ.
it. Oh my God. I wrote about literally one of the first articles I wrote.
So you know
Daphne?
Daphne?
I know
Daphne
the
Pressler?
gerontologist.
Karen Etkin.
Yeah, she's no longer.
Yeah,
she
she's
left?
no longer there, but
Love
yeah,
her. Oh my
left
God.
a few months ago.
Amazing. She's amazing. Yeah, amazing. I think literally was one of the first companies I wrote about.
Yeah.
Crazy company.
Tell the
Doing
audience
incredible
what you
stuff.
do, Eitan.
So basically, we're dealing with what Hillel just talked about, HRI, human robotics interaction,
Crazy.
human robot interaction, and the main product we have out right now is LEQ. Well, it's not actually out to market yet, but it's LEQ, and it's basically a social companion robot for the elderly to
Love
help
it.
them communicate with their
What
family.
do you do there? What's your role there?
Conversational design. So I basically design all the dialogue,
Wow.
the character of LEQ.
Wow.
So the idea is that, like, we don't, just like you were talking about, all this stuff is antiquated. So right now we have, we're supposed to interact with robots in a much more advanced way. Instead of just swiping our fingers or using a mouse, we use our voice,
Amazing.
talk to them.
Amazing.
So if
what do
we're
you do?
talking,
I'm a freelancer in video, social media, and now I do political campaigns mainly.
You
I
do
did
video? Like you edit video? What do you do?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, but now mainly political campaigns in the last year. I
Interesting.
did BB's 2 campaigns.
Really?
and, yeah.
Are we allowed to talk about that? I don't know if we should talk about that.
Well,
Do you want to go there?
not
No,
really.
Not really. Okay, let's not.
But yeah.
Let's just say I'll just say one sentence. The political climate today, both in Israel and in the U.S., is, in my opinion, unprecedented and
explosive.
very, very dangerous.
Yeah.
Very, very dangerous. There's no pro anything. It's only anti everything. You're either pro or you know what I'm saying? Like there's the left is
Extreme.
only
It's all
anti-BB,
only extreme.
anti-Trump. There's no this is what I believe in anymore. It's just
Right.
anti this, and it drives me crazy.
Yep.
It really bothers me. Anyway, okay, yeah. Topic closed.
We just want to keep our listeners.
interest-
no, I'm kidding.
The interesting thing, though, I think, is that we both learned film in Tel Aviv University. This is where we met, and we studied film. And from film school in Tel Aviv University, some interesting startup emerged. And I think it's also interesting the fact that not all startups in Israel come from Shmona Matayim and the IDF.
True.
Sometimes startups come from the humanities.
Not often though.
Not often.
Not often enough.
But there's a big potential there, I think. And yeah.
Cool.
Eitan is...
Love
Are you about to pitch a startup? I feel
No,
like you're
no.
about to pitch a startup.
I'm counting on you, man.
Love it. This was
All
fun,
right.
guys. Thank you for having me.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for coming.
Absolutely. Thanks.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Tune in next week. Bye.
Later.